Well, we've had over 9 months to test this strategy, and we've tested it well because we've had a lot of movement in the market, because we've had tenants that aren't getting rental reductions actually vacating properties just to get cheaper rent elsewhere. As Trevor's been telling all of our owners as we go in regards to rent reductions, during that time, a tenant in place was much more valuable than letting that tenant go without giving them a rental decrease. Those owners that actually managed to get through that period on their standard rent are very, very lucky. And as we advised at the time, any tenants who hadn't contacted us, we left well enough alone. Don't even plant the seed. But our strategy has become quite rigid. We've realised that there is no point putting a property on the market too early, because there's so much available on the market that if a prospective tenant can't get in to see that property, they just forget that one, move on to the next one, because there's so much available. So what we're looking at is not advertising properties until within that 2 week before the tenant actually vacates, because we have an issue with COVID conditions constantly changing. We have some tenants who will not let us into their properties, and we can't really force the issue. We're trying to make sure they will allow us to have a Saturday inspection at least, but generally they're pretty good because we do develop a good rapport with our tenants. That's important to our agency. But you know, some people who have issues that may be health issues and so on can turn around and say, we don't want people traipsing through our apartment. But what we're doing is we're advertising closer to the vacate date, showing as much as we can prior to the vacate date. Once that tenant actually vacates, we will show that property on demand. And that's the time we're actually getting more vacancies filled, because we have this great system, Inspect Real Estate, where everybody who inquires on a property is captured. We can spread our inquiries from one property to the next, because a lot of them are very similar. So that movement is actually happening behind the scenes before we advertise your property as well. Because as soon as we know there's a vacancy, we're thinking about, oh, this applicant might not get that property, but they could be a good applicant for this one because the time frame suits them better. We're also looking at advertising. So advertising is our key. Of course, we only do online advertising now. Depending on your management agency agreement, we advertise on certain portals, so we will discuss that with you whenever your vacancy comes up. But generally, we're staggering advertising on portals. So we might advertise for 10 days on one portal, and if the property's not moving, then we'll load it to the other portal. So you pick up that premium time at the top of the list at different times on both portals, which gives you more exposure.